everybody. It's Reggie with Lawyer Interviews. Today we are talking to Ed out of Orlando, Florida. Hi, Ed.
Hey, Reggie, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good. Well, thanks for joining Lawyer Interviews today. And we'd love to introduce the audience to you and to your practice. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Ed Wimp, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois originally. Currently live in Orlando, Florida, where I practice law. Currently specializing in primarily employment law, also doing personal injury, workers' compensation. And I'm honored and happy to be here with Reggie and Lawyer Interviews.
Well, thank you. Very cool. Okay, so are you in court often? Do you litigate often? What's your typical practice like?
Sure. So a lot of it is litigation. So a lot of motions, a lot of hearings. Obviously, we try to get stuff settled out pre-suit as much as we can, but sometimes you have to file suit to be able to get the value of the case that it's worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now, Ed, tell us a little bit about what you like to do for fun outside of law.
Sure. Well, I enjoy playing golf. I enjoy cycling. I enjoy traveling, hanging with friends. I play baseball. I play guitar. So, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I try to live a life where, I work hard and play hard, and, it's the best way to live a well-rounded life.
Well-rounded. Okay, so that kind of leads into the question of, have you found a good work-life balance? And if so, you need to share the secret, especially with me, because I still haven't found it.
Sure. I think I have. I work a lot. So I kind of, I'm always, on my email or on my phone making phone calls. But with that said, I'll take a lot of time in between the middle of the day to go out and, and have a nice socialization lunch, network and whatnot. So really, my typical day revolves a lot around work, but I've somehow figured out a way to integrate all of them together. So people that I golf with other lawyers. People that I cycle with other lawyers, So it's constant. Everything kind of feeds into itself.
Right, right. Well, and we now live in a world where it's a lot, law is a lot different nowadays, right? We're always connected by our phone, by our email. And so, like you said, being able to carve out that time during the day, I think is really important and like good advice for other attorneys, because you can't wait until 5 p.m. because 5 p.m. never comes when you're, you're
Right,
always connected, right?
Exactly.
And I hear also, Ed, that you are a published author. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I've been a musician for my whole life, right? And when I got to be about 21, 22, I kind of transitioned from the role of musician to working in the music industry. So I did tour management for groups like Earth, Wind & Fire and A$AP Rocky and other artists as well. And I figured then after that kind of sparked a lot of speaking engagements, and I would try to go to different colleges, conferences, high schools to educate people on how to make a living with their music.
Wow.
So, and then I figured, since I'm speaking on the topic, might as well write a book that I could then, bring with me and sell to people that they could have a memorable take home of what I was talking about during the presentation. And also during that time, I did a lot of consulting. Before I was a lawyer, I did a lot of consulting. So I figured not everybody can afford consulting.
Right.
They can afford a $15 book that basically says the same thing that I would tell them during a consulting session anyway. So.
Awesome. Well, and obviously you have like good recommendations and good advice that people should, you're hanging out with Earth, Wind & Fire. That is so cool. That is so cool. So how does your previous career stack up to being a lawyer? You were in the music industry, so that's probably really exciting. How does that stack up with lawyering?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I'm gonna dance around it delicately. I think, what I like about being an attorney is that you can be home all the time. I think that while, traveling a lot is great, it's fun, there's a lot of downsides to that as well. And there's a reason that a lot of people have 9-to-5 jobs or jobs where they stay in one spot all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, I love it. I love the fact that I can be home. My days are routine. I can sleep at night, wake up in the morning, go to the office and do my job, and not have to also balance being tired, missing family, missing out on events, missing friends, and all that.
I'm sure that traveling in the music industry, it's just you're constantly probably traveling to another person's schedule or a band's schedule, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and last minute stuff, like you think you're gonna get home, the next day, and then all of a sudden there's another show,
Right.
And it's like, well, shoot,
You're good. You're good.
I was gonna be, another couple of days on home, and you're always missing out on something.
Understandably so. So tell us a little bit about what drove you to go to law school. That's kind of a big transition from the music industry to law school. So when did you decide you wanted to be a lawyer, and tell us a little bit about that process for you?
Sure. So it was actually while I was on tour, and the thing is, the cool thing about lawyers is that they're in everything. There's law. I have some hand sanitizer right here. I bet you a lawyer approved this solution for the hand sanitizer.
Right.
Somehow, like they looked up like the medical, whatever's in it.
Patents.
Patents and disclaimers and all sorts of stuff. The air we breathe. There's environmental law. There's, like this chair that I'm sitting in. There's a lawyer that was behind this too. So, and entertainment too. And I more or less wanted to have a trade that would allow me security in every way, not only financial, but being able to just always know that I can work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what kind of spiraled me into going to law school.
Spiral down, No.
Right. Right. So yeah, and sure enough, it served its purpose. I'm happy with where my life's gone.
Very cool. So do you have any advice for maybe aspiring attorneys out there who are young, maybe even in high school or college, that are thinking, I'd love to go to law school? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, it sounds so cliche, but I really mean this. So a few days ago, I was speaking up in Illinois, and this girl came up to me and she was like, I'm a first generation college student, let alone, and she wants to go to law school. And my first advice would just be get a mentor, and somebody that they don't have to be some, top-notch, top-tiered, attorney, just somebody that's gone through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So that all right, first thing you got to do is take the LSAT. Then you got to, write a position, or not a position statement, what do they call those now? A personal statement.
Right.
And have all the stuff together to be able to apply. And then just walk through that process, walk you through the bar exam, walk you through everything, because I think there's such a high barrier to entry for people that just have no idea, how to even get in. It's like this, almost elusive, esoteric process to become a lawyer to a lot of people, and it doesn't have to be that way. So just somebody that's been down that road before that can show you the ropes is helpful.
I think that's such good advice. I didn't have anybody, and I had to figure it out myself, and it is a very confusing process. So I think that's amazing advice for especially younger folks who are looking at applying. Now, did you have a mentor? And then also, second question, do you mentor other individuals? Could they reach out to you if they're interested?
So I did have several mentors at different stages. Had a mentor that was, like top-notch attorney at a big firm in Chicago. I had a mentor at my law school who was just an older student than me. I have a mentor now who's just 4 years ahead of me, so he's just, gone through the things that I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have several mentors. As far as mentoring, yeah, I do mentor students at UCF, University of Central Florida, students at Florida A&M, students back at my alma mater, Monmouth College. So I mentor quite a few students, and I'd be certainly open to more.
That's awesome. I think that's really cool to pay back to the next generation that's going to be up and coming, because we'll all be working together at some point, I'm sure.
Right.
Very cool. All right, so give some people a little bit of, let's talk about your favorite part of law school and your least favorite part of law school. Tell them what it's like. Yeah, let's give a fave and a con.
I think my favorite thing, and I was just talking about this a few days ago, my favorite part of law school was the fact that you could take whatever classes you wanted, you know, so if you wanted to study fashion law, just go take the class, you know, and sit through the class, and you can learn something new. I think once we become attorneys, we kind of get caught into our own, I want to say genre, but we're not talking about music,
like
but our own practice area, right?
Yeah.
and it's hard to learn about other things because, you know, you're just trying to be the best attorney you can be in your particular practice area.
Right.
So one thing about law school was the fact that, you know, you can take a bunch of different kinds of classes, and there was a lot of room for debate and theory and to really just study and delve into the actual law itself. One thing I didn't like about law school was I think the uncertainty. You know, it's like, you know, you're going through this really long process and you're trying to, and you know that once that process is over, the hardest part of it begins, which is the bar exam. So you're preparing for this moment, and you're like, well, you know, am I going to pass the bar? Am I going to, you know, it's like all these questions and so much is hanging in the balance. So I didn't like that at all. But overall, good experience.
Wonderful. And did you, for studying for the bar, because it is a grueling process, did you do any kind of study program or tutoring? Like, how did you prepare for it? And do you recommend any way for others to prepare for it?
Sure. So I'll give you a hack. So,
all right, I love a hack. Yeah.
When I was in law school, so I took Themis. I'm not sure if you guys have that out and, you know, where you are.
Yep.
But I took Themis, and when I was in law school, I was an ambassador for Themis.
Okay.
So basically, I just had to sit at a table like once a week for like a couple hours in the student lobby, and people would come up, take brochures, you give them a quick spiel about the program, and then you get the program for free.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah. So that
after
was my
law school, you get the program for free if you're like a Themis rep. Okay, very neat.
Yeah, so that's how I did it, and and you know, the bar prep program basically just kind of walks you through. So it gives you like a percentage completion, and then it gives you a certain amount you got to do each day. So you just kind of do it every day, and then, you know, you kind of cross your fingers and hope you pass it. You know, there's a lot more than that, but
yeah. It's a lot more than just say a prayer on the wind and and hope.
Right.
Very cool. Okay, so let's get to some more subjects. What was your favorite class in law school?
Probably constitutional law.
Okay. Very
cool. Yeah, because it's very much, you know, you're not just learning about the Constitution, you're also learning about the history of America, and a lot of underlying reasons why certain laws were upheld or not upheld any longer. So that would be my most, I can't say it was my favorite class while I was taking it because the teacher was very challenging. But looking back on it, I was, you know, I have relatively fond memories.
Very fun. I agree. It was even interesting for me reading con law and being in constitutional law because the law even changed from the time I graduated to now on constitutional issues, and it's always evolving every year. And not every area of law evolves as quickly or as impactfully, I think, as constitutional law for the whole of the United States. But I agree. I love the history part of it. So what about least favorite class?
Oh, man. My least favorite class, secured transactions.
Oh, I didn't take it. But yeah, I mean, it sounds real boring.
I took it, but I mean, I had to basically start from like basics when I started studying for the bar. But it just never clicked when I was in the class. But it turned out to be one of my best topics on the bar exam.
There you go.
Something about it, like I just like studied really hard after law school was over and figured it out and figured out my own way to kind of grasp the information. And then so it worked. But
Very
But
cool.
the class itself was terrible.
Yeah, see, I didn't take it. I just studied on the bar, but you know,
Yeah.
it's probably one of those I should have taken because it was kind of hard to pick up on my own.
Right.
But you know, at least I tried to take as many bar classes as possible. But that was one I was just like, I don't
Yeah. If you can push it off, push it off.
push it off. Yeah, yeah. Terrible advice. Terrible. Don't do that. No one do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. Do the opposite of that.
Exactly, exactly. So now let's talk a little bit about your day-to-day practice. You know, the past few years, a lot of stuff has gone online, even hearings and trials and even depositions. How has your practice changed or evolved because of, you know, recent world events and technology? And has it gone back to in-person at all?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, since you know, Corona and all that, a lot of stuff is like this, you know, over Zoom or over some medium, over the internet somehow. And it's really, I mean, when this first happened, it made so many people more productive. And I've talked to a lot of court reporters too that are like, you know, they can do twice or three times the amount of work they used to do because they don't have to travel anywhere. And same here, you know, it's like I don't have to, if I have a, you know, hearing at 2 p.m., I can hop on my computer at 1:55, and that's considered early, you know, and I'm not, traveling anywhere, I'm not buying parking. I don't have to get back to the office or get, you know, to the next destination. So with how, you know, terrible Corona's been, I'm certainly not making light of it or saying that
Of course.
it's worth it. but
Right.
but it's certainly, you know, there's a silver lining as far as this is concerned and as far as productivity is concerned.
And do you think it'll stick? Do you think that courts will keep, as I guess people come out of lockdown and vaccines are distributed, do you think that this will be adopted now as a new way of practice, or do you think it'll go back completely?
I think so. Yeah, I think, you know, for things that can happen over this, or that where it's convenient, I think there's certain kinds of proceedings that you want to be in person for. You want to read body language. You want to, you know, be present in the room for certain kinds of proceedings. At the same time, if we're just exchanging information or having some sort of a conference or a deposition or something, you know, like that, or a mediation, there's really no need to be in person.
Right.
You know, and I think that we're going to stay, you know, I think we're probably going to adopt a lot of these procedures.
Really? Well, and I think it would be good too, like you said, there's the driving time, the parking. I mean, save clients money, save clients time. You know, and part of our ethical rules, right, are to be cost conscientious about how we bill and what we do with our clients' time. And I love the fact that that travel time is gone because, you know, I feel like I'm a lot more effective and efficient for clients. And I don't know if you have felt that. You kind of hit on that, but I love that I don't have to bill my clients for every second that I'm going to court, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And let's talk about a little bit about clients, because you deal, it sounds like, with a lot of different clients from a lot of different aspects of life, socioeconomics. Do you have any advice for new attorneys or newer attorneys on how to deal with clients and how to cull client expectations?
Sure. Yeah, it's tough. That's one of the things that law school does not prepare you for. And you know, just like doctors have to have good bedside manner, same thing for attorneys. And a lot of it, with experience, a lot of it is knowing how to appeal to a certain kind of person. So people have different personalities. People want to hear information delivered in different ways. Some people, you know, you could be very blunt with one client and they love it. They're like, thanks for telling me straight up. You could be blunt with another, and they're like, well, who are you working? Are you working for the other side? Like, why are you telling me the bad things about my case? It's like, I'm telling you the bad things about your case because we need to preempt these bad things.
Right.
You know, but that client they just need to hear it differently. They need to hear that in a way where they need to know you're on their side. They need you to kind of hold their hand and walk them through it. So a lot of it comes from just experience and experiencing different kinds of personalities, and being open to communicating with those people in a way that they can understand and respect. I think I've seen firsthand, a lot of attorneys they communicate in one way and one way only. And if the client likes it, great. If they don't, then too bad. And that's one way to do your job. I mean, I can't judge them. I mean, that's
Right.
their prerogative. But I think it's important personally to be able to communicate in a way that communicates what you're trying to say, as opposed to just sticking to your own guns and how you think it should be communicated.
Right. Exactly. And you hit on something that I think is really interesting, that law school doesn't prepare you how to deal with clients. And I think that's an answer that we've gotten across the board. So what do you think that law schools could do to help graduating attorneys develop these, they're called soft skills, but they're obviously very important, dealing with clients? What do you think that they could do to help lawyers with that?
Sure. I think more mock type things. I've judged at my law school alma mater. I've judged a lot of competitions, and they'll have like intake where like it's like a mock intake where the client walks into an office with an issue, and the lawyer kind of coaches them through the process. I think things like that where you have some client come in that's just irrational. And then, all right, now how do you get them back on track? How do you get the information out of them that you need? How do you stop them from, because a lot of them will rant and waste, I don't want to say waste your time, but they'll talk about things that, if you have other stuff to do during that day, you can't just let them go on and on and on. You have to figure out how to stop them, get what you need, but still make them feel validated.
Right.
So, I think maybe, more mock type situations, and just more, real life circumstances, professors just talking about, okay, the practice of law is half of it. These clients are the other half.
Right.
And just warning them.
And how long do you feel it took you to adjust, since it's not really a huge area taught in law, these interpersonal, client relationships? How long did it take for you to get used to dealing with clients? Are you used to it yet, or did it just depend?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty used to it. The thing with like law is you're always going to see something that you've never seen before. You're always going to encounter, and that's what makes it exciting. So, no matter how well you think that, you've got stuff mastered, something will walk in your door where you're like, oh Lord, like I've never seen it. Like I'm just going to take what I know and try to deal with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's why they call it practicing law. I mean, you practice until you retire. So I think, I think that's one of those things that, you have to understand that you can always learn more. And that's something with life in general. You don't always know it all. There's always more to learn, and you have to humble yourself, to be able to be receptive to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this is all some really good advice, but we'd like to get to know you a little bit better on a personal level. So now I know you're a musician and you play guitar, correct? And bass, or just guitar? Both?
Yep, guitar.
Okay. What is your favorite song to jam out to?
Whoa.
Or give me like 3 favorites. If you can't pick, I just like picking your like favorite.
No, 3. I'm having a hard time thinking of one. You mean like to play on guitar, or like?
Yeah, to play.
Wow. I don't know.
Okay, genre. Give everyone a genre. What's like your genre?
So I grew up on rock music. So that would be my favorite genre.
Okay, so some of your favorite bands then, rock.
My favorite band of all time is Alkaline Trio.
Okay.
Phenomenal band. I mean, I would have to say Blink-182. They got me into the whole genre. Remember my mom bought me that CD when I was like in like 4th grade, and it kind of started a whole wave of my music taste.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I would say those are. Then I like everything from that to like. I go like it's crazy. Like there's no telling what you'll hear if you pass by my office, or I listen to Sam Cooke. I listen to Kendrick Lamar. I listen to like Queen. I listen to like all sorts of stuff. So
it's like it's a mix. It's a good mix.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you said Blink-182, so I got to ask the question: how do you feel about Travis Barker being engaged to a Kardashian? I have
Um,
strong feelings about it.
I'm worried for him, but you know, I'm,
We
I have
gotta
my
keep an
concerns.
eye on him. My teenage heart kind of dropped a little bit. I won't lie. Like Travis. Anyway.
I have my concerns. But that's my opinion. So don't hit me with like a defamation. You know.
As public figures, you know the standard. Come on. Concern is not defamation. That's not legal advice. I'm not giving legal advice. Okay. Okay, so let's get to know you a little bit better too. Okay, would you rather be a Supreme Court justice
Okay.
or a senator, U.S. senator?
I'm gonna go with probably senator.
Senator. How come?
I don't know. I just never wanted to be a Supreme Court justice. Like that's a lot of pressure. So
Yeah.
not saying that being a senator is not a lot of pressure.
Right.
I just think it would be slightly less pressure.
Right. No, absolutely.
And, you know, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Some more or questions. Would you rather be stuck in an 8-hour deposition or 8 hours of traffic?
Whoa.
Yeah, you have to choose one.
Well, yeah, probably the traffic.
Yeah. I don't blame you there. Okay. Take the bar exam again or
The other one.
swim with sharks.
With sharks. How big of a pool am I? Like, how much room is there that I have to stay within with the sharks?
Let's go the ocean and let's say tiger sharks. So they're dangerous, but you could.
But how close are they to me? How close are they? How close are they to me?
Real close.
Real close?
I obviously didn't think these scenarios up with such specificity, Ed. But they're close to you, or take the bar exam.
I'll take the bar exam like that.
Okay. All right. Redo law school again or redo undergrad again?
Undergrad, for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Easy. That's way too easy of a question.
All right. Big law or small firm?
Small firm.
Okay. All right. Now we got some real controversial ones, okay? So,
all right.
how do you feel about 2 spaces after a period, or is it 1 space after a period?
It's okay. So it's complicated. It's complicated. So I don't really,
It's complicated.
I don't care either way.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's more than one person working on a document, just 1 space, because that person's probably going to forget the 2 spaces.
Right. Right.
So, and then like, you know, I hate that. That just bothers me. If like some are 1 space, some are 2 spaces.
Oh.
So if it's just me just working on the document, I'll do 2 spaces, and I know that I'm monitoring that the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody else is working on it, I'll just be like, all right, just 1 space. That way we know it's going to be more.
Absolutely. I completely agree, especially when you're collaborating on a brief memo or something. Keep it consistent. I'm sure that clerks and judges notice it too. All right. How do you feel about the Oxford comma? Yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Always.
Way more clarity. Way more clarity.
Agreed. All right. Ed, what's your opinion on lawyers who still use fax?
Who still use what?
Fax. Faxing.
Oh, fax. Yeah, no, it's awful. I don't understand in the day and age of like email and like, you know, scanning, why fax would have to be still implemented. So
absolutely.
I think it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I will ask you one final question.
Okay.
About your favorite law-related movie or show. Do you have one or a couple that you really, really like, or any characters, fictional law characters that you really like?
I've got to say Better Call Saul. Favorite show, you know, law related.
Awesome. I mean, maybe don't position your practice after him, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's certainly not part of my mentorship.
Right.
to anybody. I'm not like, go follow, do what this guy does, but he certainly is an interesting character.
Yeah. He's a good
He's
actor
everything
too.
he's what not to do.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that he pulls it off as a believable attorney who's trying to do the right thing but just can't.
Right. Yeah, it's like his heart in some weird, messed up, twisted way is always approaching the right place, but he just does it all wrong.
It does. And we've all had those days where it's just like, we can't get it right and you're trying. Not to be unethical, but just trying. All right, Ed. Well, thank you again for joining us today for lawyer interviews. And we'd love to tell everyone where they can find you on social media. So please let us know your handle and where we can find you.
Sure. So you can find me at Ed Wimp, EDWIMP. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Ed Wimp, LinkedIn, Ed Wimp, edwimp.com. So everywhere.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm more than happy to mentor people or be in contact if you have any questions.
Very cool. Well, thank you again, Ed, for joining us today, and you have a great afternoon.
All right, you too.